Dear students, today we will learn about diagrammatic presentation of data. Although tabulation is very good presentation of data, tabulated information may not be understood by a layman, whereas a diagrammatic or graphical presentation of data will be appealing, and even a layman can understand diagrammatically presented data or graphically presented data. So today we will learn about diagrammatic presentation of data, and remember, a picture speaks thousands of words. Even an illiterate person can understand the diagrams. So today we will know about the importance, about the general rules of construction of diagrams. Today in this module we will learn about meaning of diagrams, advantages of preparation of diagrams, limitations that are associated with diagrams, general rules of construction of diagrams, and various types of diagrams. Now coming to meaning of diagram. Diagram is nothing but usage of geometric figures. Geometric figures like lines, bars, circles, squares, they are known as diagrams. So although tabulation is very good technique to present the data, but diagrams are an advanced technique to represent data. As a layman, one cannot understand the tabulated data easily, but with only a single glance at the diagram, one gets complete picture of the data presented. So that is why M.J. Morini stated that diagrams register a meaningful impression almost before we think. This is the meaning of diagrams. Now advantages or importance of diagrams. It is very easy to understand a diagram. Even a layman, even sometimes an illiterate can also understand diagrams. And the diagrams save time, save effort, and save cost. And the diagrams facilitate simplified presentation. Whenever data is presented, if it is presented in diagrams, it leads to simplification of presentation. Even hidden facts can be revealed with the help of diagrams. And diagrams are very quick to be grasped by human beings. Immediately after seeing a diagram, we can understand the facts that are associated with a diagram. Whereas it may take thousands of words, thousands of sentences to express, to convey a meaning, but diagram, you can easily grasp the meaning. It facilitates comparison. Whatever data that is presented in a diagram, it can be easily compared. And these have universal acceptance. Diagrams have universal acceptance. There is no restriction of language, time, or place. This technique can be used universally at any place and at any time. This technique is used almost in all the subjects across various fields. Comparison. We can make comparison between different samples very easily. We don't have to use any statistical technique further to compare. it garners the attention of users. A diagram easily garners, means catches the attention of users. Diagram can reach greater audience. As I have already told you, a literate, an illiterate, a layman, anybody can easily understand the diagrams. And the diagrams are helpful in highlighting the trends that are associated with a data. Positive and lasting impressions will be there with the help of a diagram. The data can be easily remembered. Diagrams which we see leave their impression much more lasting than other data techniques. So these are the advantages of diagrams. Now coming to limitations. You have to remember, diagrams depict only approximate results. Those are not so accurate. And owing to inaccuracy, these can't be put for further analysis. If scales are different, two diagrams cannot be compared. Only we can compare only when two diagrams are of the same scale. For false base diagrams, a layman may not make any difference. What is a false base diagram? We will come to know in the subsequent modules. If too many details are there, it lacks clarity. In a diagram, too many details should not be shown. If shown like that, it lacks clarity. Diagrams have limited capability to highlight small differences in large measurements. For example, while plotting annual household incomes that can range from 1000 rupees to 10 crore rupees, the difference between persons with annual household income of rupees 50,000 and 1 lakh rupees will not get highlighted. Diagrams can create visual illusions and can be misleading. For example, the visual impressions can be significantly influenced by use of a different scale. Apart from simple diagrams, most diagrams are quite unique and quite complex to draw as well as to understand. Thus, diagrams have utility only for experts. It becomes very, very difficult for illiterates or laymen sometimes to understand diagrams. A single diagram in isolation does not convey much. Diagrams are essentially tools for comparison. Diagrams are end products that are incapable of being further analyzed except for mental analysis. They cannot be put through further statistical treatment. Diagrams are not accurate. They disclose only approximate values. Precision gets sacrificed for want of better presentation. Diagrams cannot be substitute for tabular presentations. Tabular presentations can be utilized for further analysis like measures of central tendency, skewness, correlation, regression like that. But it is very difficult to utilize the information provided by diagrams. And single diagrams does not convey much. These are the limitations of or drawbacks of diagrams. Coming to components of diagrams are general rules for constructing diagrams. Each diagram must be given a suitable title to convey the main idea it is intended to portray. Size of the diagram should be appropriate to the details. Scale should be selected consistent with the size of observations to be displayed. The diagram should be neither too small nor too large. The scale should specify the size of the unit and what it represents, such as marks scored in numbers, price in rupees, etc. So scale of the diagram should specify the size of the unit and what it represents, such as marks scored in numbers and price in rupees. Like that, it should be there. And footnotes. Classification regarding certain aspects of the diagram may be provided as a footnote. Footnote means at the end. See, if it is a diagram, at the end, footnote should be there. The index of the diagram. An index illustrating different types of shades, colors, lines, designs, etc. used for presenting the data should be provided for easy understanding of the diagram by the user. Proportion between width and height should be maintained. A diagram should be displayed in the center of the page. It should ideally maintain a proportion of 1:1.1412 between the smaller side and the larger side respectively. I am repeating, 1:1.4142. Proportion should be made between smaller side and the larger side respectively. Suppose this is the screen. If I draw a diagram, it should be at the center of the page, at the center of the slide. Then it appears nicely. Proper length and width should be taken care of. If it is drawn, this entire page is left alone, and if I draw a diagram like this at a corner, it will not look nice. People will not be able to understand it easily. Source note should be provided. The source from where the data has been collected may be provided. And it should be simple. As far as possible, our diagram should be simple. Diagrams are meant to make complex data simple. Hence, too much information should not be cluttered into a single diagram. And neatness should be maintained. Diagrams are visual aids and hence need to be neatly presented. A variety of devices such as broken lines as dots are used to make the diagram attractive. Diagrams should be communicative. Diagrams must be intelligible. They must convey a message. Diagrams should be reliable. Diagrams should be reliable. They should not mislead the user. In an attempt to make the presentation more attractive, data accuracy must be maintained. As far as possible, diagrams should be self-explanatory. A diagram must be self-explanatory. It must indicate nature, place, and source of data presented. And appropriate diagram should be chosen. Different diagrams are there. It may be bar diagram, it may be line diagram, it may be a pie diagram. Several kinds of diagrams are there based on the data that has to be conveyed. Appropriate diagram should be chosen and choice of diagram should be befitting the data. Now coming to types of diagrams. Generally, basically, diagrams have been divided into three categories: one-dimensional diagrams, two-dimensional diagrams, and three-dimensional diagrams. And again, in one-dimensional diagram, line diagrams are there, bar diagrams are there, pie diagrams are there. The line diagram will be like this. We will study them in detail, but for our simple understanding, bar diagram will be like this. pie diagram. In a circle, we are going to divide various components for better understanding. Then these are the one-dimensional diagrams. Now coming to two-dimensional diagrams. Rectangular diagram. As the name itself implies, it will be in rectangular shape. The square diagram. Square, as you all know, four sides will be equal. Then circle. These are two-dimensional diagrams. Now three-dimensional diagrams. Cube is there. Pictogram is there. Cartogram is there. Cube, as you all know, will be like this. And a pictogram, various pictures will be there. See, if I want to depict a boy's image or male image, I will take the help of like this. Picture of a male, picture of a female, or picture of a girl I want to depict. Like this I can show, that is pictogram. And coming to cartogram. Cartograms are used to present data pertaining to geographical regions with the help of maps. For example, in meteorological department diagrams, you can see the distribution of rainfall in different regions of a country. The different geographical regions are depicted on a map, and the quantum of rainfall in the regions may be shown by dots, different shades or colors, etc. Cartograms are simple and elementary forms of visual presentation and are very easy to understand. They are generally used when the regional or geographic comparisons are to be highlighted. So, choice of a diagram. Which diagram has to be chosen by the data presenter or data analyzer? It depends on the data that has been gathered and to whom the data has to be sent. All these things you has to keep in mind. A wrong selection of the diagram will distort the true characteristics of the phenomenon to be presented and might lead to very wrong and misleading interpretation. Some special types of data, like the data relating to frequency curves and time series, are best represented by means of graphs but not diagrams. The choice will primarily depend upon the nature of the data, the objective of presentation, and the type of the audience to whom the diagrams are to be presented. So keep in mind which diagram you have to choose. It primarily depends on the nature of the data, the objective of the presentation, and the type of the audience to whom the diagrams are to be presented. These three we have to keep in mind before presenting data. Now we will come to know about one-dimensional diagrams. First of all, we will discuss about line diagrams. In one-dimensional diagram, line diagrams we will see. So first of all, in one-dimensional diagram, we will discuss about line diagram. One-dimensional diagrams. We will discuss first category, that is line diagram. Now let us take for example the data is given like this. Year and year 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, and 2020. Data is given like this. Year 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20. The data is in years and admissions. Admissions relating to a college. Let us take for example how the admissions are depicted in a line diagram. We will see admissions. Let us take for example in the first year, that is 2016, 200 admissions. Next year 250. Next year 325. In the year 2019 525. In the year 2020, let us take for example admissions are 620. These are the admissions. Then we have to present it, present the data. How it can be done, we will see. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. This data is represented like this: 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and admissions are given like this. Now how to present it in a line diagram, we will see. So this is the data that has been given. Now we will see how it is drawn in line diagrams. Okay. This, as usual, this is x-axis. This is y-axis. Now on x-axis, so this is the data pertaining to college admissions from 2016 to 2020. This has to be depicted in line diagram. We will see how it happens. This is y-axis. This is x-axis. On x-axis, we will take years. We will start with 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. 2020. So this is the data, and admissions I will take on y-axis. Admissions I will take 200, 400, then 600, 800. So like this I will be taking admissions on y-axis. Now you see how I am depicting this. And in the year 2016, 200 admissions are there. So here I am pointing this. Then in the year 2017, 300. Exactly in the middle of 200 and 400, I have drawn the one. And 2018 year, 425, above 400. Now in the year 2019, 500 admissions are there. Exactly between 400 and 600, I have put a point. In the year 2020, 625 admissions are there. So above 600, I have taken 1 point. Now we have to connect all these dots with the help of a line. That is line diagram. That will be a line diagram. 17. So like this, if we draw, this is known as a line diagram. Okay. In these diagrams, only line is drawn to represent one variable. These lines may be vertical or horizontal. The lines are drawn such that their length is in proportion to the value of the terms or items, so that comparison may be done easily. So in this way, we can draw line diagram. I hope you understood line diagram. So in one dimensional diagrams, we have seen line diagram, how to depict a line diagram. Line diagram in simple terms involves drawing multiple vertical lines. Each vertical line represents a particular frequency. The variety values that are presented on x-axis and the corresponding frequencies for each value of x are presented on y-axis. Now in our example, I have presented on x-axis year, and on y-axis I have presented admissions. Both the axes are drawn as per a suitable scale. So on x-axis we have taken 1 unit is equal to 1 year. Whereas on y axis, 1 unit we have taken as 200 admissions, number of students 200 we have taken. That is known as scale. Okay, I hope you understood line diagram in one dimensional diagrams. Now coming to bar diagrams, there are several kinds of bar diagrams. Bar diagrams are one of the most commonly used diagrams for presenting the data. This type of diagram is generally constructed when the data represent different values over a period or different situations. They are largely used by business and government to present economy related data such as industrial, industrial production or agricultural production or inflationary trends or exports or imports or forex reserves, like that. Bar diagrams are used specifically for categorical data or series. They consist a group of equidistant rectangles, one for each group or category of data, in which the value of magnitudes are represented by the length or height of the rectangles. The width of the rectangles is immaterial. However, width should be kept uniform to prevent a distorted image. Bars may be drawn vertically or horizontally. The concept of bar diagrams is similar to that of a line diagram. However, instead of lines, data is presented in the form of bars. The bars are in proportion to the different figures they represent. As bar diagrams are one dimensional, the height and length of the bars alone is important. The height or length of the bars should be in proportion to magnitude of the observations. The bars can be of any width or thickness, but such thickness or width should make the diagram attractive. However, the width of all bars should be uniform. The space between any two bars should also be consistent with the scale of x-axis. To clearly say, the space between bars should be equal unless the variety values are following a different trend. It is desirable to have the magnitude represented by each bar. It is desirable to have the magnitude represented by each bar written on top of the bar. It is common practice to arrange the bars from left to right in case of vertical diagrams normally, or from top to bottom in case of horizontal diagrams. Bar diagrams are of various types. Now we will discuss some of the common bar diagrams. Okay, simple, subdivided, percentage, multiple, deviation, directional, broken. Those about them we will discuss in the next class. So today, dear students, we have seen the importance of diagram, limitations of diagrams, general rules that are followed in constructing a diagram, and line diagrams we have seen. We have defined diagram also. So thank you, dear friends.